Welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution! Brought to you by GhostBed.com.
What? To what? Yes. Hey!
Oh!
Hi-yo!
Hi-yo, hi-yo.
Today's the day, Jabes.
What's the day?
Come on. We're getting a spaceship. We're shipping astronauts into space.
Oh, yeah. Pimpy astronauts, hey?
We talked about it yesterday, and today's the big day, obviously. They're going to ship these two fuckers up, Jabes.
Yes.
And with that, Elon Musk will be champion of the world yet again. I find the blast-off time to be particularly curious, Jabes.
The blast-off time?
The blast-off time. I find it particularly curious, Jabes. You know what time it is? Just pick one time out of the day that people have a good chuckle at.
4:20?
Goddamn right.
Really?
Yeah. 420's blast-off time, Jabes.
Interessant.
Isn't it?
Very,
And
very,
if you're going to tell
very.
me Elon Musk wasn't amped to get a rocket ship into space at 420, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Sure.
It feels like he knows how great he is, what a genius he is. Therefore, he plants these little nuggets out there of like, meh, fuck him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the 420 thing. Great. That'll go down in history. What time did that spaceship launch? 420.
4:20.
Goddamn right it is.
Well, they're just trolls, right? So they're
Who?
just rich trolls. That's why there's a Dave Portnoy and Musk
Yeah.
2024.
Time to musk up.
They're just the ultimate rich ass, don't give a fuck trolls, right?
Which is the way it should be. Because here's the thing: if you're a fucking genius
Maybe.
like
Yeah.
Musk, let him do whatever he wants.
Sure.
In my mind, that guy can do whatever he wants.
Right.
He's carte blanche to do anything he fucking wants in this world.
Blanche or Blanche?
Carte blanche to do whatever he wants. It's amazing to me. He was one of the founders of PayPal, Tesla. Now he's shipping goddamn rockets into space. I mean, it's amazing. Name another human that's been that great in the last 100 years, right? You probably have Bill Gates.
Martin Short.
Yep. Martin Short, obviously.
Obviously.
For Clifford.
Just a trailblazer, but yeah. So Martin Short, Steve Martin. Who else?
The list might end there.
So you're saying Branson.
Branson
Didn't happen.
Yeah, but it didn't. He
didn't
failed
work.
yesterday. His ship failed.
Didn't work,
His
didn't
rocket
work.
failed
Jordan?
yesterday. Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we just naming cool people?
No,
or?
we're naming like true geniuses of
Oh,
the world.
okay.
I would put Jordan in that class for sure. But right now, Elon Musk is in a class of his own with probably Jeff Bezos. And,
Right.
you know, I can't put Tim Cook in there because he took over for Jobs. So, like,
Yeah, so he just took
You
over
walked into that.
an empire. Yeah.
yeah, you didn't really have to fucking
Yeah,
do
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So it's pretty spectacular, and I'm looking forward to it today. This is the first time where they're going to break into like the news and all that other stuff and show it taking off, which I can't remember since I was a kid.
I mean, they have done, right? But we just got
When?
bored of it.
No, we didn't get bored of it. They shut down NASA.
Oh, okay.
So like the government wasn't funding it, and it said, look, this has got to be privately funded, and then the government would intervene then and kind of, all right, we'll give you more money if this shit is working. Elon Musk made it work, and the government has stepped in and gave some cash over there to help this now.
Sure.
Because they want to rebuild the space program. But, yeah, the space program's been shut down for a while.
Okay.
So it's been a long time. I think, I don't want to say when the last time I saw it on live was the Challenger. I was a kid. That was the last time I can remember them breaking into your day and being like, hey, we're going to show this. So at 4:20 today, it's out of Cape Canaveral, by the way. I was right. I was right about that yesterday.
You were right.
Man.
And I'm happy for you.
Almost like I went to space camp as a child.
Did you?
Had the Neapolitan ice cream.
Did you?
Astronaut ice cream. I visited. a visit. I wasn't in the camp. It's like I wasn't good enough for the whole, weightlessness and the other. That's expensive, Japes.
Sure.
It's expensive.
Sure.
Truthfully, I'm too dumb to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Mm-hmm. And it's important to be honest with yourself about what you can do and can't do in this world.
Yeah.
Being an astronaut's not one of them, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Too dumb.
Too dumb.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't be an astronaut.
Well, I think it's something that you have to start the journey of a little bit earlier than now, right?
Do you? Is the question.
Yeah, I think so, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if you can just start astronaut classes at...
Online. I think you can do everything online.
Oh, okay.
Everything is online now, so you can do it through Zoom.
What do I know? You know what I mean?
The crazy thing about this is they were talking to the astronauts last night, and I watched their interview. You were exactly right what they look like, by the way. One of them's kind of pimpy. He reminds me of Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
The other one is his beef fry, because they're best friends in real life, the two of these guys that are going up.
Cute. I don't want him to...
Jesus Christ.
What?
Yeah.
I don't want him to be best friends. I want him to be badass.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm in that same camp.
I don't need them to be best friends. I need them to be like putting out cigs before they get on to NBC for like an interview.
Smoking cigs, absolutely.
Smoking cigs, drinking.
Smoking cigs in the fucking spaceship.
Hung over when they go up.
Cigs
right?
inside, brother.
They're
Hashtag cigs inside.
Yeah.
But I watched these guys, and they were chatting about what they were about to do and everything else. I guess they had gone to the space station a couple years ago together, and they're going back on this, and this will be the first test. This is, by the way, this is the Musk rocket that you've seen that lands afterwards. Like it comes straight down and lands back on the ground. Mm-hmm. This is the one where you're like, oh, I remember seeing tests on that where I was just like, that's a fun thing. You'll never put humans in that goddamn thing.
Right.
They are. So when it comes back, it's going to land on the ground. You're not going to go into the ocean anymore where you're like, all right, cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the rocket's going to land on the ground. So
gosh, this all doesn't sound right.
It is, and it's wild. And they went through all of the stages of it last night. And the two guys, the astronauts, because even the suits are different. The suits are like these sexy little racing suits where they're very thin, where you're like, is that going to block out the space from destroying, like caving in your head? Like, it looks weird. They look like NASCAR suits now.
Right.
Like thin, sleek, kind of cool looking, where you're like, oh, shit, you could pop off the helmet and just roll out to a bar.
Right.
And everybody would be like, oh, shit, it's an astronaut. Like, that's dope.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bulky enough where you couldn't get through the front door. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could definitely just ease on into a bar and just pop the helmet off and be rad to go. It looks sweet. Like, it looked awesome. Kind of looked like an H&M jacket, but like a full one.
Oh, yeah.
Like a full kind of pleathery pantsuit type of deal where you're like, oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's another change. The rocket landing on its own is another change.
Sure.
The other thing was they were asking them, they were like, what's the difference between like the old school, spaceships and then now rocket ships, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Again, not an astronaut.
Right.
Too dumb to be. So
yeah.
I don't really know. I'm using my own terminology here.
Yeah.
And I'm living on the edge, Steven Tyler says.
Right.
They said the biggest difference was this rocket is basically a giant iPhone is what they're saying. With like apps and buttons. So you're pressing screens like that instead of like, 9 million buttons and controls. They were like, man, this is really scaled down to where it feels like a giant iPhone where you're just kind of hitting shit. Mm-hmm. They said there is less control for them and more control for the people down on the ground because of the computers and everything else. So, maybe you might have a shot, Japes, to go up there.
Shot at what?
Being an astronaut.
I've never wanted to.
Well, just in case
We've talked about this all the time. I have no interest
that now
in going to space. You do.
I do, yeah.
You've asked me numerous times, like, what if you could?
What
if you could just? What if about this? What about this? And my answer always is no.
Yeah.
I don't care about space, and I never have.
And I'm glad about that. What I meant was someone like you,
Mm-hmm. And what does that
stranger
mean?
off the street can go up,
A stranger off the street?
Yeah, it could probably go up now. Like, if this is successful,
right?
Looking at the inside of this thing, Because this is what they're going to use. SpaceX is what they're going to use for like tourism and shit later on. Pretty soon you'll be paying for this. So like, all right, great. Here's $250,000. Ship me and my friend up to space. So, you know.
Yeah.
That's what Branson was trying to do when he failed his thing. Was getting ready for space exploration for tourism, essentially, where it's just like, hey, they'll shoot you up and then take you back down.
Right.
Obviously, Big Dick Branson isn't ready for that yet.
No.
But Musk is. So I hope today goes well. Again, if you're going to break into the news in the day of all this shit, like, oof.
420.
420. And
421. What, EST?
EST, yes.
Okay.
So it's out of Florida.
Oh, okay.
It's out of Cape Canaveral in Florida. And again, the last time that they broke in for something, and I was a child, it was the Challenger. So I hope we don't have a repeat thing here going on. They've been talking about weather conditions and everything else. And as soon as they go into that, you start getting real nervous where you're like, oh, no. Because what I didn't know was there was a tropical storm heading up the coast.
Oh, yes.
I did not know about that. And then all of a sudden this morning, it was like, Bertha coming to Charleston.
Is it Bertha?
You. Yeah. Yeah, Bertha's coming to Charleston. And I guess it had to hit a mile per hour in the wind. And I think it was 45 to be classified as a tropical storm. So it did hit that, and it's going to hit the area. And we've been getting rain, wind, and all that shit up and down the coast. I was down at the ocean earlier, and the waves are wild. So it's coming. But I guess it's clear skies, and they're ready to rock.
All right.
Down in Cape Canaveral. So I'll be tuning in at 420, you know? A lot of people will.
Yeah, we could definitely see what happens. We
Burning
can update tomorrow.
I wonder if they'll let the astronauts smoke weed in there.
I mean, probably not.
It's 420, James.
Right. They're going to have to smoke before, but they should.
Let them do what they want.
I would.
Yeah. Could you imagine? You get drug tested as an astronaut, I wonder?
Yep.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also, like, I think you probably need to stay focused. You know what I mean?
Sure. But for that initial flight, I don't know how long that takes, you know? To get to the space station.
Gosh, what do you know?
Are you really doing anything at that point?
Yeah, no.
You're
probably not.
Kind of just flying, right?
Yeah, they're probably just sitting there and doing nothing.
Aren't you sucked into the seat? Isn't that a thing? Like the G's take over, the G-force takes over, and you're just sucked into the seat? I don't think you're really doing that much.
Right.
I don't remember Buzz and those guys watching that doc really hitting buttons until they got close to the moon. So how long was that? Probably days. Probably ask those guys. Go back and ask them. I'd love to get Buzz Aldrin on the show. I'd love to go back and ask Buzz. It was like, hey, man, what were you really doing like during that whole flight? I bet you he was being like, man, I was pissing and shit myself. We couldn't get up, sucked into the seat. Not a lot we could do, you know, until we got into actual space.
Theo Vaughn has a funny bit. Like, he met him.
Shook
his hand, looked in his eyes, and he said, I just didn't see a guy who has been to the moon. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I totally thought before, and I looked in his eyes, and he's just, you could tell in somebody's eyes if they've, like, been to the moon or not.
Shut the fuck up.
And he was like, I just didn't see it, dude.
Oh, boy. That's
He's
great.
like, I didn't know how it would feel, but, like, I could just kind of feel that he'd never been. You know what I mean? And I was like, gosh, you know.
Buzz Aldrin is an amazing human. And, yeah, he went to the fucking moon, dude.
For sure, but, you've got to shake him, you know, shake his hand and look him in the eye and, like, be like, yeah. Because wouldn't you be, if you've been to the fucking moon and everyone you meet hasn't, you would have that, I mean, you'd have that way.
Yeah.
You'd be able to see it.
Maybe.
You'd be able to tell.
I think the
moon.
moon
I mean? This guy has been to places
I think
I will never go.
That moon look is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's just it's indescribable, and I don't know. You'll know when you know. Do you know what I mean? You'll know when you meet him.
I think that moon look probably faded years ago, where you're just like, man,
he's over.
I'm tired of talking about the fucking moon, dude.
And it's not talking. It's just the look of a guy that has been somewhere you are never going to go, right? It's just that.
Yeah.
And like he definitely has a swagger, right? When you see him, whatever, he has this thing of like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You're never going to the moon. And I've fucking been, right? There's like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if maybe you get a different vibe than he got, you know? If you're like, dude, that guy, moon.
First of all, he went in 69, which is obviously the best year to do it.
Sure.
If you're going to go to the moon, you wanted to go in 69, and he did that, right? But you got to take that into account. That was 51 years ago. That moon look's that's gonna wear off in your eyes. That moonlight.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, at this point, he's seen and done everything. He's met everyone there is to meet. I don't think he's got to throw a moon look to Theo Vaughn. You know what I'm saying? He's not listening to podcasts.
No. And it wasn't. It's hard to describe. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm better than you thing, or I need to prove anything to you.
Right.
It's just a look that a man would have
if he went to the moon.
If he went to the moon, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so you'll know when you meet him, because I really do believe that you are going to meet him. You're going to shake his hand.
I don't know, and I'm worried about it.
I mean,
here's how worried I am about not meeting Buzz Aldrin. I fucking called and emailed his team and publicists and all this shit. I just want to get him on the show.
Sure.
I don't care if it's Zoom. I don't care what's going on. And they were iffy about it.
Sure.
You know, the show Drinkin Bros sometimes can have a negative connotation to somebody. So, you know.
I mean, for Buzz, though?
It depends.
He's maybe sober. He's probably sober.
Yeah. And then I almost got to cross paths with him over at Funny or Die. When Funny or Die first started, he did like 3 sketches and was really funny, Buzz Aldrin. But I'm worried I'm not going to get to meet him, and I'm kind of snowed on this one, Jabes. I got a signed picture of him over there.
Yeah.
That someone sent in because they know my love of Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
And a listener sent that in.
And that moon look, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's got it there.
He's
clearly got it in that picture. You know, he's on the moon.
The moon look?
Yeah.
You're not looking at his eyes, though.
No, I'm not, but I can tell
I mean?
the way he's standing there and his focus, that's a nice 1,000-yard stare in his eyes. It's a nice
It's okay.
moon
I mean,
so I don't know.
You'll see it. You'll know it. You know what I mean? It's not really something I can explain to you, but.
We'll see if he pops up today and does an interview about what's going on today.
And really look.
I'll look.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll look into his eyes, and I'll give you guys an honest report, but.
Be like, he had the moon look?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it no moon?
I think he's over it, and I think he's over it because they shut down NASA.
Okay.
And it was just like, oh, really? You shut down what I gave to this world? I went to the moon, dude. Now the government's gonna shut this down? Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, moon look's probably gone for Buzz. It is. You know, I'd like to have a convo about it, obviously. I'd just like to rap with him about what the moon was like.
No need. Literally.
A look.
You just need to look deep into his eyes,
right.
Stare, like for a while.
Sure.
Do the hi stare. That's what I call it when people ask you how you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And it's a real, do you know what I mean? Lots of eye contact and a very like genuine, judgy, but a real sincere, how are you though? And they want a real
response,
answer. You know, they don't, if you just say fine, but.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's what you need to do, that kind of that long eye contact. And I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very uncomfortable. Especially when you're like, I don't believe the answer.
Right.
Like when you tell them you're fine, they don't believe you. Because it's not true. You're just being polite, right? So that's what I think you need to do to Buzz.
All right. Well, if I ever get to meet him, I will.
You will.
I'll judge it, and I'll report back to you on his moon look.
Please.
For sure.
Please.
Hammer the like button if you're watching on YouTube right now. We got to beat that algorithm, brother. We got to beat this shadow ban. Hammer the like button if you're watching. Who was first in the room today? Ruben Steiner. Shout out to Rubes, dude. And everybody in there. Brooke, what up? Tyler Swank, what up? AJ Gamble, Nico the Greco. I saw Big Dick Danoff. He's going to watch that shit on TV today. Chris Beerworth.
Oh, yes.
They're all going to be watching it today. I want to discuss the death of George Floyd here, if we could.
We can.
This one is a tough one. There's riots currently in Minneapolis over this. rightfully so, in my opinion.
They should be.
Yeah. The officers
They
were
should
fired.
be.
And boy, man, I watched the footage of this. This one was a bad one.
A lot of them are bad ones.
I understand that.
But yeah.
This one in particular in broad daylight during this, where you're just like, Jesus Christ, man.
I Can't Breathe came from broad daylight on the sidewalk.
I know.
And
we've gotten a lot of messages about this, so I thought we would chat about it today.
Yeah.
And one of his best friends is Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson is a very famous NBA player, and they look identical. So in real life, he called them twin because they look like identical twins. However, they are not. He went on a Twitter rant, or not a Twitter, but an Instagram rant that was, what can you do, essentially, and what's going to happen with this? Because he's like, they're not going to get the death penalty. And he's like, they just killed one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. No one's going to get the death penalty out of this.
It'll be like every other story where the cop is, suspended, goes on trial, and then gets off. Mm-hmm. And it happens time and time again. And the frustration is real. The and systematic oppression. It's all real, right? But what is the answer?
So I've been thinking about this, what the answer is. Because
not that we
know a lot of first responders, in particular, a lot of cops. 99.9% of them are great, and they are great people. There will always be cases like this, I think, because of what that job entails, what you're not getting paid.
Yes.
This isn't an excuse, obviously, but and then what goes on throughout your day, that this frustration and anger builds up toward a certain community, and then you end up taking it out on one person.
Yes.
In an
for something somebody else did.
Fashion, correct. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have screamed better training for the police officers. I don't believe it's better training. Me personally, I think from every cop that I've talked to, and we've had a bunch on Drinkin Bros, the training is there. It is the individual and how you choose to apply that training, whether or not you want to, in those situations. Clearly, I would wager this officer was probably trained properly. That does not seem like any protocol that anyone typically follows. So can you blame this on the training? No. Can you blame it on the individual? Absolutely. And you can blame it on this cop for what happened. And then the others who let this go on for 5 minutes. I didn't know it was 5 minutes. Did you know it was 5 full minutes?
No, I didn't. But the person filming, the other cops, there were so many people that...
Who was the person filming?
That I don't know.
And why are you not trying to do anything as
well?
So there's a lot of people to blame in this situation. And I think the police department did the right thing, obviously, in firing the cops immediately. The mayor made a statement that just said, hey, man.
They need to charge them, though.
They will.
Yeah.
But that takes time. It'll be quick. I can promise you that. But it'll be within 24 to 48 hours, and they will be charged.
Okay.
I'm certain they're probably going through the evidence and everything else and then questioning them. Like, it's going to be a minute. Mm-hmm. But the riots are justified. The firings are justified. And I don't know what you can do as far as more training. I really don't. Like, I believe that they probably do have the proper training. And this isn't it. And it comes down to the individual. And I hate the actions of people against police officers in general, just for doing it because you're lumped in with somebody like this. Mm-hmm. This one person's going to fuck it all up for everybody else, and everybody's going to look, negatively on the police, which is wrong. But this guy needs to be prosecuted for his actions, and you got to figure out a way to make an example out of one of these people so that it doesn't happen again. But what do you say to gain trust back is the biggest question.
What do you say? What
do you say to, what do the police say What is the mayor, the community? What do you say to gain the people's trust back?
They just never like prosecute these people.
They should.
They always get off. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. You've got to make an example.
No, but
and
that's
prosecute
the answer.
them.
They've had so many chances to make examples, and they still just like not guilty, not guilty. And then you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Even the case that just happened, right? Those two guys that filmed Ahmed, right?
Yeah, Aubrey, yeah.
Aubrey, yeah. Like, it took so much. They were letting him go.
Mm-hmm.
There needed to be video. There needed to be people speaking out. If it was against a white kid, there wouldn't have needed to be any of that. So it's more than the gaining back of trust is all these times that they've had to prosecute police officers, and they get off with this thing of, I was scared. He put his hand here. He like, they're scared. They're scared, and they're not paid enough, and they're put in harm's way constantly, and the people that do bad things are not prosecuted. So if that happens, if you do stuff like this and you kill a man that's in your, once you arrest a guy and put him in handcuffs, he's in your care.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of times that someone's been killed in that way is very high.
Yeah.
The amount of people that have gotten off, police officers, either just fired or whatever, is very high as well. So what needs to happen now, and what people are calling for and what the riots are about, is prosecution. They're not saying that they're all bad. They're saying when they are bad, you have to do something about it, which is what we don't do.
Right.
So that's all it is. So that the cops that are good can walk around being like, we're fine.
Yeah.
If we weren't fine, we'd be in fucking jail.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. We'd be in jail with you guys. If we don't do the right thing, the same thing happens to us. If you don't do the right thing, we have to enforce you. It's just that chain is broken, where it's like the white cops, or just cops in general, or the people in some kind of authority in that way, have been shown over and over that nothing will really happen to them. They could say that they were self-defense. They could say that the guy was grabbing for something. They can say that they felt their lives were in danger, and they'll get off. They know it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very few.
I don't think
but that's what it looks. That's what it looks like.
I don't think in this instance they will.
To the community that's rioting right now, what it looks like is, you're gonna get off. You always do.
Right.
Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Rodney King. I mean, since the dawn of us starting to realize this.
Yeah. They went back and got the Rodney King guys, though.
Did they?
Yeah, they ended up going in jail.
It just takes so fucking much.
It does. So
for it to happen, it's insane.
They need to be swift about this and prosecute this guy, and then whatever the three other fucking people were doing. And I don't know who's shooting that video. It was just a bystander. All right. Why didn't he fucking do anything? Why didn't the bystander do anything? Crazy. On this one, man, it is completely justified, and the riots are justified and everything else. And it creates more division in this country. I mean, you've had, now this one, and then the other one in Georgia now, and shooting that kid. And that was was a former police officer, obviously, but
it was the same thing, though. He was so pissed off. These motherfuckers breaking into shit that he fucking killed somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the same fucking thing. And we're not just noticing it now. We don't usually talk about stuff like this, but we're not just noticing it. This one is a bad one, but it's at this point, it just needs to be that if it happens, we don't care how.
And the reason why we
don't care how. You will jail. If you kill someone that's in your custody, however it happens, you're scared, you're whatever.
Yeah.
You go to jail, and then we'll figure it out from there. Just like they do with
everyone else.
Just like they do with the people that they're fucking up, right? We ask questions later.
Yeah.
We'll kill you, or we'll put you in jail, and someone else will figure it out. If you're innocent, Call the Innocence Project. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
Right.
All I had to do was put you in there, so I'm good. I'll go home now, right?
And the reason why we bring this one up today is in the past, to me, there was some of those videos were questionable of like, I don't know when they started filming. I don't know when that edit ended and everything else. But this one is pretty clear cut what happened here. And
most of the time with the videos, though, it's like somebody running away from someone. They get shot. Yeah. Someone getting choked to death on the curb.
Yeah.
Other ones, we do have to. There is no video, and we do have to go with the police officer's word, right? Mm-hmm. He did this and this. I felt scared and did that. That's mostly what it is. Why is it every time there's a video? It's shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means there's a lot of times that there's not.
100%. So we'll stay tuned and see what happens here over the course of the next couple of days, because
I hope the right thing
to quell the city, something's got to be done real quick here, because it is the video that I'm seeing from today and last night is fucking nasty out there in the streets, and now is not the time to be doing it after going through a pandemic and all that shit. So next up, I want to talk about shit, man. We talked about yesterday, the end of freedom of speech. Didn't think it was going to be this fast, but it sure is. And we were talking about the president and people asking Jack Dorsey on Twitter to silence the president, shut down his account, or delete some of his tweets.
Right.
That they have asked for. Instead, they did something else different last night. They put up a fact check on his tweets. And one of them was regarding mail-in balloting and said, hey, if we had mail-in balloting, there's going to be a bunch of fraud in the upcoming election. I don't stand for mail-in balloting when we can all go to the voter booths and vote. Twitter then put up a fact check. Underneath the tweet, I'm going to pull it up right now, but they put up a fact check underneath the tweet and said, no, we fact checked this, and here's why we think this was wrong. And Trump obviously went ballistic, because if you're going to fact check the president and say that his tweets are incorrect, you're going to have to do that for every single person on Twitter. Why the president and no one else? So if that's what we're doing, and we're going to fact check every tweet and everything we say, that is essentially the end of freedom of speech. Because I can promise you, for every fact check that is claiming that something is right, you can find another article that's saying it's wrong. Fish oil. Goddamn, I was taking that shit for like 2 or 3 years. And then, 3 or 4 doctors came out and they were like, no, fish oil does nothing for you. It's a waste. It's a fucking placebo. And I was like, oh, well, shit. So the same with the mailing of ballots in. There is instances where you can mail in shit and be like, all right, cool. There was one that I mailed in a vote one time, but I had moved. And I was like, was I over the time or was I not over the time? And did that go in and count? Now, granted, that vote it turned out that it did not matter. But what if it did? I was technically guilty of that, I guess.
Right.
But I'd moved and I was just like, oh, well, I still wanted to vote and I'm going to get this thing in the mail and that's it. Trump is vowing to get off Twitter and find another platform to go. The problem is, like we were talking about yesterday, I don't know if that can happen. Because where does he go then? He's got 80 million followers on Twitter. Facebook, I guess. But people use Facebook and Twitter differently. A lot of people don't check their Facebook anymore. I'd say Instagram, yeah. But Instagram's owned by Facebook. So what if Facebook decides to say, hey, man, we're going to fact check you as well? I don't know what's going to happen. Because then you could go through all of these and say, hey, man, fact check all these fact check Nancy Pelosi, fact check Biden, Schumer. Like, you could go, this could be a never-ending war. If you're saying one person's facts are right and another's aren't. And I was really, really surprised to see this. The other thing is, like we talked about yesterday, me personally, if you look at the numbers stock-wise, for when Twitter started to become successful again, it was because Trump, and he got elected. I've always been curious as to what happens if you remove him from a platform. What happens to that platform? For instance, we talked about this too, maybe 6 or 8 months ago. If Trump isn't elected in 2020, let's say it is Biden, would CNN exist beyond 2 years? What would they talk about all day? At this point, what would MSNBC make it? I don't think they would. I think they're all being propped up by him, and I think Twitter is as well. Is if you think about this, most of the people who are bitching about politics are going on to bitch about Trump or in support of Trump, right? What if he's no longer there? Does it really matter? Where do all those tweets go of hatred to people? Because that's money. That's advertising dollars. You need more people on that platform. You'd be taking away 80 million followers off of that. 80 million. And moving platforms. What's the point of going on Twitter, I guess, and yelling at the president or going in support of the president if he's not on Twitter and he doesn't have a chance to see it? Or at least you think you do in your mind.
Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy, right? And the only time I ever thought about this, looking back at it after this happened last night, I was like, has there ever been a point where somebody that valuable to a platform just left? Like just picked up their shit and left. And I was like, yes, it did with the Kardashians. Remember it was, wasn't it Kylie that just left?
That got off of Snapchat.
Yeah. And the whole, the stock cratered. It was like 40%. I mean, it was gnarly. And that's a celebrity. That's not the president of the United States.
Right.
So what would happen if he said, hey, man, cool, Jack, you're going to fuck with me in this fact-checking shit? I'll bounce, and then you can watch the stock price tomorrow. I think that's the only way to fight back in something like this. But the problem is you're too close to an election, and I think you need those 80 million people to go out to say vote and support and everything else. But I can promise you this. Internally at the White House today, there is a meeting going on where they're trying to figure this out of what they're going to do. Yeah. Because his entire campaign is being run by a social media manager. If you break it down, you essentially have 3 that he uses: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I don't think you can afford as a candidate to lose 80 million people unless there was some place else for you to go. So I wonder if the execs at Twitter got together and said, hey, man, where's he going to go? Put the fucking fact check thing up there. Where's Trump going to go to get out to 80 million people over and over and over again throughout the day? So it's a very curious case. But again, I said this, with Leon Lush on Drinkin Bros, and he said it as well, where it's like these are becoming public utilities now. All of these sites. And this is kind of the definition of free speech. Yes, they're private, but should they be? Or should they be deemed as public utilities where you can go and do and say anything you want? To a certain extent. Obviously, you can't say you're going to murder somebody. Right. Or burn their house down or something like that. But everything else is under free speech.
Free speach on a privately owned platform.
If you deem these as public utilities, which that is exactly what they've become, I think you have to.
But they're owned and run by private people. So in order for that to be a public utility, it needs to be run by government.
Right. Well,
which you don't want.
Don't want the government to be doing it.
Okay.
But what I think though is, God, if he did it, man, it would be amazing stones to do it. If he just pulled up stakes and said, "See you later, Twitter." My guess, I think they would lose. I think they'd lose 50% of their company in the stock market, almost overnight. The same way with the Kylie Jenner thing.
Yeah.
I think they would lose 50% overnight, and I wonder if he tries to take it to another platform and says, "All right, cool," because Facebook already was in. They've already had chats with Facebook. Zuckerberg's all about the dollar, and he doesn't give a fuck where it's coming from. So he's had chats of like, hey man, we're not scaling back on political ads, because that was asked of like, hey, you can't use Facebook and everything else. So maybe. Yeah. It'd be real interesting to see though. But when I saw that last night, I was like, holy shit, man. Then they can just do it to all of us.
Do what to all of us?
Put a fact check underneath our tweets. Yeah. Have you had it before?
No, I'm
Anything
not.
that you've posted on social media?
No.
We actually did for one of our shows. I don't think you know about it though.
Did what?
We did a conspiracy theory show.
Oh no, I know about that. And yeah.
And we got a fact check thing from YouTube that said, hey.
The conversation, it comes from like Megyn Kelly. Like somebody asked her, where is her show gonna be? Like what? Mm-hmm. You are having a show, but where is it? And she said, all I'll tell you is I won't be ruled by a corporate or overlord. Now, saying that, you are delusional if you think that you're going to have a show anywhere that is not run by an overlord that can take you off at any second. So this slave to the platform thing, it's just this, these people have in their minds that you have a business like that's completely yours, and it's not. Yeah. People on Instagram that are doing sponsors, that's going to be taken away. Likes are going to be taken away. Your business can be taken away by one person. Yeah. So you do not have your own business. It's like, if we're not renting the space in the fucking salon or whatever, we don't have a business. Right. If you're not paying YouTube for using the platform, it's not yours. It's theirs. Right. So this idea of this, I think we're confused. And if you think any differently, if you think you have free speech on YouTube or free speech on Instagram and all of this, you're delusional and you're wrong. So the only way to do that, to fully have free speech that no one can shut down, is to go onto a corner with a sign. A street corner with a sign and yell through a megaphone. Other than that, you are working for someone else. That's true. And you have to deal with the parameters of what that is. If you get on if you walk into someone else's business and you say, "This is where I'm setting up." Nope, not paying you. Nope, not doing anything. No, actually, you're going to pay me. They're like, cool. Well, we're also going to tell you what to do. Nope. Yeah. It's my business. Yeah, brought my desk in. Yeah. It's my business. Yeah. Right? I used to have my taxes done at Starbucks. The guy's office was in Starbucks. Yeah. Didn't last too long. That's not his office, right? He was great. He was the best tax guy I've ever been to in my life.
Is that real?
That's real. And he would set up a desk in the corner of the one across from the subway station and Ross and TJ Maxx on Western, I think. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
So you go into that corner of that
in Los Angeles, yeah.
And it lasted for a little while. Maybe tax season. Here's the other thing. I don't know what he paid them. Maybe eventually. But it didn't really last long, right? Yeah. So you can't, these little dum-dums, not saying we are, but I'm saying there's these little dum-dums on Instagram, on Twitter, on things like this, that think that they have a business. Yeah. I'm a model. I'm my own boss. Yeah. You're not your fucking own boss, by the way, and neither are we. And neither is Megyn Kelly, wherever she goes. Yeah. For her show, she will have an overlord, and she's fucking delusional if she thinks that she isn't, unless she wants to do her show in her front lawn with a lemonade stand. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because if you're going to film it and you're going to put it up, there are only a few platforms that you can do that. It's dystopian society. We have given them the power to do it by all flocking to these sites and making them big, and now they have the power, and now we want to talk about free speech. Give it the fuck up, everyone. It's true. We got a message from a listener last night that was really interesting regarding the Joe Rogan stitch, which you talked about yesterday, about having Alex Jones on. That was the rumor, Right. I mean, I don't think he's going to do that, but go ahead. Let's say he does, right? Hypothetically. Let's say he does. It'll be a big fuck you to Spotify as soon as he gets on there. I doubt he's going to do it, but go ahead. Well, so here's the thing, because the debate is, did Spotify give him all creative control, which is the rumor, and then he's going to do whatever he wants and have the show where you have freedom of speech. This listener who wrote in said, well, consider this and chat about this today.
when they took Alex Jones off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apple was a part of it. They got rid of, him off of the podcast app and all that other shit. And they also won't allow him to have his own app because he could just have an app that's the Alex Jones app and then all of his shows and that's it, right? So with Rogan, let's say he does cross a line. It doesn't necessarily have to be Spotify that disciplines him. It could be Apple. It could be Android, where they're like, hey, man, we already said we don't want Alex Jones on these fucking platforms. We've pulled him. So if you want to keep fucking around, we'll pull Spotify too.
Well, no, it wouldn't be Apple because Spotify is not Apple.
No. But that's where they own the phones. So
sure,
if you take the phones away for podcasts, right? I think
for podcasts you can listen on computers. You can listen.
You could, but 82% of listeners are on phones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if your device can shut down something. It would have to be your phone.
No, it would have to be Apple themselves that come in and say, "Hey, man, we're going to pull Spotify because Joe Rogan's on there and he's got these fucking controversial guests
from our phones." I mean, yeah, that it's possible, but
But it is possible. And
right.
when he said it, I was like, yeah, you're right.
Don't ever.
You're controlled by somebody else. And as much as you would, exactly what you said earlier, as much as you want to think you have this free speech and, oh man, I can do this and this and this. No, you can't. If he gets out of, Spotify might have said to him, look, you can do whatever you want. But
you can,
congratulations,
by the way.
There's still a boss behind Spotify.
Exactly. You can. Free speech, right? Like everyone on here is like, free speech is free speech, right? Yes. But if it's on
a platform,
if it's in someone else's company, they can shut you down for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And call it something else, right?
Mm-hmm. So
you're always going to have a boss.
You will. And the more and more I thought about it, I was like, God damn, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it. Can't get away from it. And we can't get away from these sponsors because we love them, James. First and foremost, talking about ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. 30% off Memorial Day sale for all bundle packages. So bundle up. Baby, it's cold outside. Bundle up. Get a mattress. Wrap
Shows
yourself
all over the place.
What up?
Where, baby, it's cold outside.
Who cares?
Free speech.
Free speech, Shabes. I just
condoning riots.
Whatever,
we
dude.
are all over the place.
That's what's going on in the world today. Fuck it. We talk about what the people want. You
Sure.
message in, we'll talk about it. I'll talk about all this shit. I don't give a fuck. And I'll talk about how much I love GhostBed.
Absolutely.
Ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. We just signed a new deal with them to become the title sponsor for, I think, the next year.
Happy about it.
I believe so. Yeah, the ink is almost dry, so I'm not gonna fucking go too hard yet. But one of our media companies, one of the podcasts in our media company was just like, "Hey man, is this real?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And he goes,
"What,
I
of
get
the
a mattress
deals?"
from them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I go, "Yeah, they'll send you a mattress, man." And he goes, "Fuck, man, that's awesome." And he goes, "I bought one a year ago because you wouldn't stop fucking yapping about it, Ross."
Right.
And he goes, "It was amazing." And he goes, we have kids and new people and all that shit. And he goes, "I'd love another one." I was like, "Congratulations, you're going to get one." They really are the best in the business. It was Derek White.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it was like, dude. So, look, they're the best. We love them. I have read one complaint in fucking 2.5 years. That's it.
You're lying.
GhostBed. It's the best.
You're lying.
It
I don't
is
even
the very
believe in
best.
that one complaint.
I don't either. Maybe they were going through their own shit.
Yeah,
but GhostBed is the best in the business. Right now, everything else is 25% off. The bundle packages are 30% off. And then the pay-as-you-go program is 36 months, no interest on that, which nobody's offering that. And that's including the deals. So go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today and get on it. Next up, James, we got expressvpn.com/revolution. How do you feel about it?
Of
having a VPN now. You're very important.
I just feel like more protected, smarter.
Yeah, I got you a new fancy computer for
I know.
Mother's
I had
Day.
to put ExpressVPN right on it.
Goddamn right you did. You got to protect yo shit. Go to expressvpn.com/revolution today. $7. It's a seamless app that runs in the background of all electronic devices, and it'll protect you from hackers and everybody else who's trying to get at you. Go to expressvpn.com/revolution today. When you sign up for a year, you get 3 free months. You can also fucking watch porn, break through all your firewalls at work. So, best in the biz. Next up, we get StrikeForceEnergy.com, Jabes.
Boom, 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 boom. Shabloinkers.
Shabloinkers. Strikeforce Energy's got 4 amazing flavors. Grape, orange, lemon, and a ridge. 10-pack, 40-pack, 750-milliliter bottle. Here it is, kids. Tasty, tiny little tin pouch. You rip it open and squeeze it into any liquid available. And boom, boom. Pop a couple squirts in and go. Go to StrikeForceEnergy.com today. Promo code REVOLUTION, 20% off. And there's no carbs and sugars in it, Jabes, and no gluten if you're into that. If you're one of those gluten babies, you know. StrikeForceEnergy.com, promo code REVOLUTION. Last but not least, StraightRazors.com.
Ooh, that's a clean cut. Smooth. Mm-hmm. Oh, you right?
Yep. My headphones on because I had a space stare in my eyes. I got Buzz's pictures over there, and it's signed, and I'm staring
the moon
at Buzz.
look.
Moon look. And I kept my headphones on. I shouldn't have. Whew, that rang around, Jabes.
Yeah.
Look, kids, StraightRazors.com is the best in the biz. For men, small children. Nah, you can't shave a child's legs. That's a Biden move. It's a Biden move. There's a lot going on.
Father's Day.
StraightRazors.com. Best Father's Day gifts you can get. It's a nice kit. You get the razor, the beard oils, mustache waxes, conditioners, and the straight razors are second to none. You can get them engraved for your father for Father's Day. So do it. Go to StraightRazors.com, promo code REVOLUTION. 20% off. Jobless. Jobless. Speaking of no free speech these days, Jimmy Fallon was trending yesterday.
Yeah, what happened?
For blackface again, with the Saturday Night Live sketch of where he where he played his best friend, Chris Rock, and he does a brilliant Chris Rock impression, and did it on the show in 2000. It seems like every 2-3 years that pops up on Twitter of cancel Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon's over. It feels like people are just watching that sketch for the first time. Right. Full on NBC, same network he's on, everything else. Chris Rock gave him permission to do the impression, and yesterday it was a strange time to do it, but considering all that's going on in the world, he issued an apology for it. Do you think that's right or wrong?
An apology? I mean, at this point, why not apologize?
To me, it's comedy. Clearly, his friend gave him the permission to. He was doing an impression of his best friend. It was not malicious intent. If you start apologizing for things you did 20 years ago, you're going to make people apologize for everything in this world. So, to me, it just further drives a spike into comedy itself. And, man, if you wanted an apology, why didn't you ask 20 years ago? If you were that deeply offended, why didn't you ask 20 years ago? All of the people. Right. Kind of weird to see, in my opinion, like 20 years later. So I think they're just going to keep coming after everybody now, comedy-wise. Yeah. And it's a weird time, again, with the end of, essentially the end of free speech and everything else. Like, where do you go? What can you say anymore?
Well, I mean, you can't wear blackface. That's known.
That's yeah. Now,
so like if you have questions, do you have questions about what you can't do?
Sort of.
Oh, okay, so blackface you can't do.
But take White Chicks, the movie, right?
Sure.
Is that correct or incorrect? Can you do whiteface?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right?
When's that apology coming?
From
the Wayans brothers. And we've had Marlon on the show. You know why I didn't ask him about it when he was on the show? I didn't care.
Thank God you didn't.
Yeah. I also didn't fucking care.
Right.
Because it's dumb and it's a comedy and he was making a fucking comedy.
Right.
I'm a comedian. He's a comedian. That's it. Don't really give a shit. If he was going for a joke, he was going for a joke. You can say a joke's in poor taste, but to say there's malicious intent about it, I don't believe that. you take it in the case of like Kramer, who goes on stage at Laugh Factory in L.A. Mm-hmm. That was malicious, right? But this, no. Mm-hmm. And clearly he's got makeup artists and all that other shit. Why didn't NBC or Lorne Michaels or the makeup team and everyone else, the 60 or 70 crew members who were involved in that sketch, have to apologize for it? It wasn't just Jimmy Fallon. And there was a lot of people that came out, a lot of black people that came out on his feed and said, hey, man, you don't have to apologize for this.
Yeah.
So it's strange to see, man. But every 2 or 3 years that has popped up, and finally he made a statement yesterday. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not really sure why. So, when I saw it, I was like, really? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're coming after everybody now. Get ready for the backlash on me for Pool Boy and all the other fucked up movies I've made.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be canceled, Jabes.
You think?
Yes.
That will
for
mean,
sure.
Yeah.
For though, I'm sure if they had a problem with Jimmy Fallon playing Chris Rock, they're gonna have a problem with my movies.
Yeah.
And look, comedy's been comedy for fucking years. Comedy ended in probably 2016. You should probably put a date on that. It would be great if we could register all of like the incorrectness and when it stopped. So that way there's like a Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They have a Wikipedia for feet, and you were on there. By the way, I never thanked you for that. I never said how proud of you I was.
For what?
You're on the feet Wikipedia now. You made it.
Oh, from like a movie or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We had Christmas Abbott on, and she was telling us.
Love to see it. Oh,
WikiFeet
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there
She's
you go.
got over 3 million images on there, and we had to fact check it live on air.
Sure.
She was correct, and then we did it for you, and sure enough, I was like, oh yeah, you weren't wearing shoes in that movie, and you were on there. Congratulations, Chips.
Thank you.
But if there's a WikiFeet where you can find celebrities' feet and everything like that, there should be just a comedy Wikipedia where it's like, hey man, this is the day this joke ended, and you can no longer say this. Because it's getting real goddamn hard to keep a list of it right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to judge people and all that shit for the history of time, by all means. But then we should also start some type of record where it's like, well, in this day, in the Comedy Journal in, 2018, January 18th, so-and-so said this, and that was wrong.
Right.
Then you could go back and at least have a date and be like, fuck, you're right. I can't say that word anymore, Because you're adding words, phrases, looks, cultural appropriation. There's a ton of things you're starting to add to that list. It'd be nice for all of us comedians to just have a place where we can go to understand what year that is so that maybe I could fact check it and be like, oh, fuck, that's right. We can't do this anymore, But then there's other things that are fine still. Like the love of Michael Jackson still continues, which is always puzzling to me. Yeah. We were watching America's Got Talent last night. And one of the contestants, so one of our friends was on, Vincent Marcus. Yeah. We'll give Vincent a shout out. He made it through. Four guesses. Crazy talented dude. He's been on maybe 10 or 15 episodes of Drinkin Bros. Love him. Love the guy. He's great. His Eminem impression is the greatest thing of all time, too, by the way. But in watching it, there was a guy who did the moonwalk last night. Yeah. And when you'd gone to sleep, our 6-year-old was moonwalking in the kitchen, and he was asking me. He was like, "Dad, what is this?" I was like, "Oh, it's called the moonwalk." Right. And he goes, "Oh, well, who did it?" And I was like, "Michael yeah, it was Michael Jackson. Yeah, it was. It was Michael Jackson. The pedophile. Right. That guy, But it's still okay to do all that shit. Right. Tough one. Tough conversation to have. But eventually I had to tell him it was Michael Jackson. Right. He knew Michael Jackson, by the way. It was on YouTube. Michael Jackson's channel on YouTube is still massively huge. That's another one of like, all right, after that documentary came out, shouldn't you just pulled the channel? From YouTube? Yeah. Yeah. What are we doing? I don't know. Who makes the call and when? That's why I want a record of this. I just want a nice scroll of when we can talk about shit and when we can't. So if you're out there and you're interested in doing that, it would be great. Just the Death of Comedy website, deathofcomedy.com. James, anybody want to give a shout out today?
Who do we got? We shouting out?
Yeah.
Well, we got Julia.
All right.
Kirkus, like circus.
Sure.
Rihanna. Brittany's in here. I think Brooke was in here. Who do we have? Yeah, I think that's
Reed
the girls. I think that's the girls.
The Hawk. Ruben Schneider's
gosh,
in here.
there's only a few.
Nico the Greco. Big Dick Danoff is in here. Brittany C. We really appreciate everybody going to iTunes and rating the show. Just go and give it a quick 5-star and a review. It really helps in the ratings. And subscribe to Drinkin Bros podcast on YouTube. All of our shows are encompassed there. Drinkin Bros, Drinkin Broettes, Ross Patterson Revolution, and Drinkin Bros Sports, and Savage Saturdays. And we're still coming at you, Jabes. Still coming at you. Heading to Austin on Thursday night.
Yes, but we are doing a show tomorrow.
Yes, and heading to Dakota Meyer's house to do a show with him.
Oh, yes.
He's one of the best in the biz, so subscribe to his podcast as well, Front Toward Enemy. Jabes, I'm looking forward to that space launch today.
Oh, yes, 420.
420. Let's do it. Time to musk up, kids. Hopefully this thing goes off without a hitch. If not, I don't know if 2020 can take much more. So
no.
We'll see.
My gosh, could you imagine?
Last time I saw a shuttle launch live on television was the Challenger. So I hope that does not happen today, but we'll see. We will see. For Jessie Wiseman, a.k.a. The Jables, I'm Ross Patterson. This is The Revolution. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.